Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago as we continue our Holy Week here in Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz along with Mark Teresi on WNDZ 750 AM. You can also get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago, youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Again, Father Greg along with Mark. And Mark, take it away.
Tomorrow is Good Friday. Each year on Good Friday, we follow the Passion of Christ in the heart of the city, where thousands of people carry their cross every day. Through choral music, gospel passages, reflections, and silent procession, we hope to enter more deeply into the events of Good Friday and their meaning for us today. We ask to experience the exceptional presence of Christ among us as a real answer to the needs of our hearts. Joining us this morning to talk about this year's downtown Way of the Cross are Davide, Bonicelli, and Patrick Lambert. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. Great. Thank you for having us.
I know that Patrick and his wife and two beautiful little daughters belong to the cathedral. And Davide, you live where?
Riverside.
Oh, Riverside. Okay, the same area there too. Now I know.
Yes.
I know that both for Davide and Patrick, you're very involved with the Way of the Cross. First of all, maybe Davide or Patrick, give us a history. How many years has this taken place? Who was the creator and founder?
So we started unofficially, I would say, in 2004. That was the first year we walked the Way of the Cross downtown. It was just a small group of friends. We started as a group of friends in the movement of Communion and Liberation, which is also active here in Chicago. And it was just the desire of bringing the Way of the Cross to where the people are. We used to do it at the beginning, and for a few years before that, we were doing it at UIC, at the Newman Center. But really, we wanted to witness Christ in downtown. So we started then, and then ever since, every year we've done the Way of the Cross. And the only year we stopped was for COVID in 2020. And then 2021, I think we did a service in a church instead of on the streets. But then otherwise, it's been going on for almost 20 years.
So Patrick, when did you get involved and how did you get involved? And you're involved, right?
Yes, yeah, I am involved. This is actually going to be my first time participating in the Way of the Cross here in Chicago. I belong to the movement of Communion and Liberation, and I've participated in the same gesture in Tampa, Florida. We put on a kind of similar event on Good Friday, and also in Caravaggio, Italy, which is just outside of Milan, for kind of like the huge Way of the Cross with hundreds and hundreds of people. But this is going to be my first time here in Chicago, and I'm participating just because I belong to the movement of Communion and Liberation, and we're the ones that put this event on, and I'm really passionate about sharing the great gift of God's closeness to us in Christ through his suffering on the cross.
Now, Patrick, how did you get involved in Italy?
Yeah, my wife is actually from Italy.
Oh.
She's from Milan, and normally we spend Holy Week over there. But this year we decided to stay here in Chicago specifically to go to this event.
Well, having a 6-month-old daughter and a 22-month-old daughter makes it a little bit tough to go traveling to Italy with two beautiful little girls. That with Patrick and his wife, and the girls always sit in the last pew at the cathedral. And but they're good. The girls are good.
They are. We're very lucky. We're very lucky.
Quiet.
They're two beautiful
You haven't taught them to cry during Father Greg's homilies, huh?
Especially before or after the joke. And that now, Davide, the very fact that this has started back in 2004, I know it is built up every year. And how many people are you expecting to do the Way of the Cross tomorrow?
So number has fluctuated a bit depending on weather, especially, and then after COVID. So before COVID, we had usually up to 400 or 500 people participating. I think last year was around 250. So in that range, 200 to 300 people probably.
And then, for anybody who's interested in joining the Way of the Cross tomorrow, to begin at what time and to be where?
So we gather at Daily Plaza at 8:20. So we start at 8:30. The actual walk begins around 9. There's a short introduction, initial blessing, and then we start walking around 9 a.m.
So
But
daily,
8:20, we usually start with like classical music around 8 a.m. so that people can gather their thoughts and gather in prayer, and then we start at 8:30 sharp.
so anybody would like to go, and all are welcome. 8:20, Daily Plaza. Talks begin at 8:30, or at least some introduction. But the actual Way of the Cross begins at 9 o'clock. And what is the actual route? You'll begin at 9 o'clock. Take us through the route.
Yes, so from there we walk north to the River Walk and the Veteran Memorial is the first station. And then the second station is at the Tribune Tower Plaza, right by the river and the bridge on Michigan Avenue. And then from there we walk on Michigan Avenue to Water Tower Plaza. And then the final station is in the garden of Holy Name Cathedral, where we conclude right before the Friday service. So we then invite everybody to join the service at the Holy Name Cathedral.
And so that last station in Cathedral, you should be at the Cathedral courtyard, where I will meet you at about what time?
Usually around 11, because again, a station, it's been changing over the years. We've been trying to adapt things. But the last station, for example, we stop and it's actually 2 stations together. So it takes a bit longer, but around 11 a.m. we should be at the cathedral.
And Patrick, what kind of organizational structure do you need to? It's probably pretty complicated to get this done.
Yeah, no, there's I know firsthand from my wife, who is part of the choir. They've met so far about 10 times for quite intense practices.
Wow.
We've had to get all kinds of permits and insurance to support this kind of event. And then just logistically planning who's going to be where with what at different times. It's no easy feat. So, yeah, it's quite a bit.
Maybe out of curiosity for both Patrick and Davide, and that is, you're both very busy young men. You could be doing a lot on Good Friday, other days of the year. What got you, Patrick, involved both in Chicago and in Italy to be part of the Way of the Cross?
Yeah, for me, it's especially here in Chicago, it's especially beautiful precisely because I live actually on the route that we're going to be walking.
Oh.
So every day I leave my apartment and meet homeless people, immigrants from, let's say, Venezuela, see business people walking back and forth from their jobs, stressed out. And I also have my own personal struggles and difficulties that happen in that exact place. And for me, it's a huge support to my faith to see myself, my friends, and 400 other people walking behind the cross, affirming that we're not alone in all of these sufferings, and nor are our neighbors that are going through similar situations and even more difficult ones. For me, that's something that helps me to get out of the bed every morning, to know that Christ is with me in the midst of all of this. And I hope to offer that to my neighbors and also to my 2 daughters and my wife. So I'm willing to put all of the work into planning this event.
How about for you, Davide?
For me, it's been, so I started doing like Way of the Cross with communion liberation in high school, right, in different forms. And it's always been this beautiful moment of preparation during the Easter Triduum. It's such a concrete moment where I can physically follow Christ on the cross. And I would also second Patrick, because then doing it downtown really then becomes an opportunity to witness to people. It's always beautiful for me to see when we're walking. Usually I'm in front because I have all the police permit. I'm like walking with the police in front. And I see people stopping, looking at the cross, children asking their parents, like, what's going on? And they say, oh, it's Good Friday, right? or someone stops and makes the sign of the cross and just wait for us to pass, or sometimes they join us, right? And so it's such a beautiful opportunities of witnessing Christ, right, in the city where I've been living for many years, and really just in such a concrete and simple way.
Now, I noticed, Bishop, in the pictures that we're viewing, Bishop Grab, Bishop Bartosik are in the pictures. How are the bishops and clergy involved in this?
So, in particular, Bishop Grob and Bishop Bartosik have been involved for quite a few years now. Bishop Grob was kind of the liaison of the Catholic movements with the cardinals. So we've been in touch with him for many years. We have known him for many years, and he has always been part of the Way of the Cross, reading the scriptures or offering reflections. And then in the last few years, also Bishop Bartosik joined us. He also loves to sing, so he's part of the choir now.
Oh.
And more in general, I think, again, because it's really, this wants to be a gesture for the whole city, for the church in the city. There are many priests that join us, that have been joining us for many years, different orders of nuns and priests, seminarians come, right? And so it's really just a place for the whole church in Chicago to witness our faith in downtown.
Now, Davide, before we take it to break, since you've been doing this Way of the Cross for so many years, when you are walking the Way of the Cross, you mentioned earlier, people stop, people make the sign of the cross. I know this is a pre-set route, and it's on the sidewalk, and in all the years you've been doing it, does any story come to your mind about a particular car passing by, someone walking by, someone joining? That I know that it's a very powerful, silent moment, but any stories that come to mind in all the years you've been walking the Way of the Cross regarding bystanders?
Yes, I think one that really stayed with me is the man that was walking to work. He was clearly dressed like, I think he was in construction, probably has like a hard hat on in his hand, right? He was ready to go to his construction site. That stop, this was just right before, the year before COVID, stop in Daily Plaza, joined us, and ended up doing the whole Way of the Cross with us, right? So that really started, someone that said, okay, this is more important, right? I'm doing this right now. And then the other thing really are, as I was mentioning before, more than once, children or teenagers, they stop, look at us, and then ask their parents. And they're usually maybe just in Chicago, you can see they're like shopping. So maybe they're tourists, right? They stop and ask their parents, what is going on? And the parents stop and say, okay, this is Good Friday, and I have to, explain, what's going on here.
Good.
So those two are always for me are like a beautiful.
Memory. We're going to take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM Catholic Chicago. You go to youtube.com. Maybe when we come back, we could talk a little bit about outreach to other faiths and how they can be a part of the Way of the Cross. It's very powerful, very powerful. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Community is core to Catholic Charity's founding mission. For more than 100 years, we have met people and families where they are, serving anyone in need, regardless of their faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. As our world absorbs the economic, political, and social aftershocks of the pandemic, 50% or more of the 6 million people living in Cook and Lake counties have little or no savings. They are a paycheck away from zero. We are deeply grateful to everyone in the Catholic Charities community who partners with us to alleviate the suffering of the people we serve and offer them a better path forward. We are witnessing a message of mercy and hope to a world very much in need. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
I am a seminarian.
The Church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
I can't imagine myself going into any other school.
Our school fosters growth by being a backbone to our family.
My kids are incredibly well-rounded. I see a lot of kindness in them on a daily basis.
One of the things I think Catholic schools do well is personalize the learning experience. You can hear joy in the classrooms.
I feel that I'm happy that I am in this kind of school.
Our school communities provide students with academic excellence and character education in a supportive and stable learning environment. Come see for yourself. Visit archchicago.org/findaschool.
We're back, WNDZ, 7:50 a.m., Catholic Chicago. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We're discussing the downtown Way of the Cross for this Good Friday. Davide Bonicelli and Patrick Lambert. Father Greg, you have a question.
Yes, this would be a question for both Davide and Patrick. First of all, Mark, you do a great job with Davide's last name, Bonicelli.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, today you say it was Bonicelli. Let me first of all kick off with Patrick. You've not done the Chicago Way of the Cross, but you've been involved over in Italy. Question for both of you, Patrick and Davide, how has the Way of the Cross on Good Friday touched your life? Patrick?
Yeah, I can say for myself that in a world, I imagine many people could relate to me that frequently in my life, I go from one thing to another and am constantly distracted by this, that, or the other thing. And the Way of the Cross for me is at least once a year, I spend quite a long time, 3 hours, really kind of diving deep into the mystery of Christ's gift to me through the cross. And I think that the way that we do it is especially beautiful and especially supports that kind of experience of being aware of Jesus present there with me. And every year for me, it's like a huge booster to be more and more certain that when I go to work the Monday afterwards, I'm not alone. He's there with me. So it kind of is a moment for me to stop and reflect, and always propels me back into my life on a much deeper level than I was previously. So
that's beautiful. Davide, how has this touched your life?
So for me, I would add, as Patrick was saying, definitely it is this beautiful moment of seeing Christ in action in many different ways, like in a way that really changes the way I'm then preparing for Easter. I am aware, the following days and the following weeks, but also in a very concrete way, how Christ acts through us. Like we do very little, like we're a group of maybe 10 friends or a few friends that try to put this together, and then there's a choir, right? And we're always busy with life. And then the fact there are 200, 300, at times there are 500 people coming together, right? Is truly Christ acting, right? Doing something through us, right? That we are not able to do. If it was up to our strengths and abilities, this wouldn't happen the way that it happens, right? And just the beauty and the witness of the people there, or being surprised by people that come and are moved and want to come back, right? It's truly just witnessing Christ, in our life in a very concrete way, just shaping reality.
Now, as you look at the Way of the Cross as an event, beginnings are important and endings are important. So what do you expect in terms of the beginning, and what does the end of this event look like for you? Both of you, either one.
Sure. Oh, Patrick, go ahead.
Go ahead, Patrick. Either one.
By end, do you mean purpose?
Yeah, I mean just physically the beginning and the ending of an event. The end of the event, do people just scatter? Is there a discussion? How does that work?
So I think the beginning, as was mentioning, I think one of the proposals for everybody, and that's also I think part of the witness to the people that see us, is that we walk in silence. And so the beginning is really trying to we play classical music, and then when we start the singing, the readings, the reflections, it's all trying to be in silence, which is not simply not talking, but really be in the presence of Christ. And then it also powerful witness to see 300 people walking in silence throughout Michigan Avenue. And then the end usually is not simply saying, okay, now we're done. It was just an event that finishes. It's just the beginning of being prepared to stay in front of the resurrection of Christ. And so we end by inviting people, first of all, to join the celebrations at the cathedral, but also it's an invitation to spend Saturday, the next few hours waiting for Easter Vigil in the same silence, in prayer, right? And so I would say there is not an ending in the sense of we are done. It's really just an invitation to continue to pray and stay in front of Christ.
Beautiful.
I think beautiful. And maybe along these lines, I know that having had you, Davide, as a guest in the past, along with Ben and others, that come rain, snow, sunshine, snowstorm, hail, sleet, whatever, the walk will take place beginning at 9 o'clock from Daly Plaza on Friday. Am I correct?
Yes. If it's cold, come prepared.
And I was going to say, you've actually had the Way of the Cross in beautiful weather, in horrible weather, in sunshine, and in snow. And people show up and do the Way of the Cross no matter the weather.
Yes. And I think part of the beautiful witness too is sometimes families come with children in very inclement weather, and the kids are amazing.
I think one thing that I know, along with Mark and some others, that this walk just doesn't happen by accident. Mm-hmm. I know that with the both of you and with Ben and others, many, many, many hours have gone into planning, preparing, music, permits from the city. Now, is the actual procession led by Chicago Police Department to guide you through the city streets?
Yes, so usually, and I see you see it also in the pictures, it's there is always an officer kind of accompanying us in front, but then there's they're always kind of because we try to stay on the sidewalk, but because of the number of people, they have to kind of block traffic at times. So there's always at least 10, 15 officers that kind of follow us on bikes, on foot, or on cars, just to help us kind of walk through the city.
Now, here's a question I just thought of. In all the years you have done this, that you've talked about people stopping, joining, making the sign of the cross, genuflecting, gratitude, again, reflection. Has anybody in all these years yelled at you, jeered at you, laughed at you,
It's really the minority of people. Like there were maybe a couple of cases where someone like yelled about like the separation of state and church, which has nothing to do with what
something
we're doing. But
disrespectful.
it's just something like most of the people are just
Very respectful.
somewhat different, but most are like really just either fascinated or like taken by this group of people walking and by the cross.
Now, again, who's invited? This isn't just a Catholic event. This is a Christ-centered Stations of the Cross. How do we invite our brothers and sisters from other denominations? How does that happen?
So I think it's through friends. So it's a very good question because like last year, for example, so during the Way of the Cross, we hand out a booklet kind of with all the readings from the Gospel. And then usually there's reading from the Gospels. There's a lot of readings from Charles Peguy, which is a philosopher and writer that was very dear to the founder of Communion and Liberation. And then some reflection by Father Luigi Giussani, who's the founder of Communion and Liberation. So we always have like a couple of people that read Charles Peguy or Giussani. And last year, the person reading Giussani is a friend of ours who happens to be a Protestant, right? Episcopalian. So it's truly open to everybody. It's not that only Catholic can come. It's any Christian that wants to join us. And I think usually maybe we haven't done such a great job to reach out to other churches. Again, we're a very small group, but through friendship, there's always someone that comes that might be from other denominations.
I found that I've been in the cathedral since July of 2016, and starting then Good Friday in 2017, except for the COVID year. I've always met the group in the courtyard and very impressed by the respectfulness, the solitude, the getting caught in the moment. About you look at the cross, and it's so powerful and touching. It's interesting as you're walking the whole way to the cathedral, it is done in silence. So talk about the power of silence. So again, Mark?
I just had a quick question. Who carries the cross? How is that person chosen? Do different people carry it during different stations?
Yes, it's, I would say almost whomever wants and needs to, right? We do ask in a sense of like, at times we know of some friends that might want to carry because they are carrying like personal cross in their life. But it's also people who join that we might have never seen before that ask to carry the cross. And so it's usually just who wants to do it. There is not like, it's not scheduled on purpose. It's just open to anybody who wants to do it.
I want to thank in a very special way Davide, Bonicelli, and Patrick Lambert for joining us on the program. The Way of the Cross, which will gather tomorrow at 8:20 in Daly Plaza. The walk actually begins at 9 to be at the Cathedral Courtyard about 11 o'clock. So thank you, Patrick and Davide, for joining us. May God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Special thanks to co-host Mark Teresi and to our producers, engineers, Michael May and Clinton Contrell. Thank you for the great work you've done. To all of you, a blessed, blessed, holy Good Friday. Each Triduum. God bless all of you.